Ever since Microsoft's launch of the Surface almost 4 years ago, companies have been trying to make a tablet that can also work as a laptop or productivity device.
Microsoft is 4 generations in on its attempt, and Apple is now in the game with the iPad Pro. But one of the best executions on this idea is coming from an unlikely place. It's Samsung's Galaxy TabPro S.
Size up the TabPro S against the Surface Pro 4 or the iPad Pro and you find a lot of similarities.
12-inch screen? Check. Thin and light design? Check. Detachable keyboard? Check. Pen support? Check. Big battery? Check. But what really sets the TabPro S apart is how all these parts are put together.
For starters, the $899 price includes a sleek keyboard case, which isn't included with the Surface or iPad Pro. That keyboard case is better than both Microsoft's and Apple's. It feels a bit cheap and flimsy, but it's surprisingly easy to type on. And while the trackpad is small, it's smooth and easy to scroll with.
Fold it all up, and it's thinner and more svelte than the iPad Pro or the Microsoft Surface. What makes it really better than the Surface, though, is that when you're using it on a desk or an airplane seat tray, it doesn't take up nearly as much space.
There's a flat bottom, so I can easily type on it when it's on my lap. And it doesn't have such a short typing area that it feels like the tablet's going to tip over like the iPad Pro does. The TabPro S does other things well too. It has a display that's really bright and vibrant. It's a giant Super AMOLED panel, just like what Samsung uses on its phones. And has a 2:3 aspect ratio that's ideal for browsing the web or working in Word or Excel. Samsung quotes a really long 10.5-hour battery life based on looping video. But in my experience with real-world usage, using Chrome with 10 to 12 tabs open, multitasking between apps, etc., I got closer to 6 hours of battery life.
That's enough to get from New York to California, but it's not quite as long as an iPad can muster. Performance on the TabPro S is pretty good. It never gets sluggish or bogged down when you're doing basic tasks.
You can't really game on it, and it's not ideal for heavy photo or video editing, but for web browsing and using apps, it works fine. The biggest limitation with it is that it only has 4 GB of RAM. Oftentimes, Chrome tabs would have to reload after just a few minutes away, which is really annoying when I'm trying to multitask.
And like any other Windows 10 tablet, the TabPro S really isn't that great when you disconnect it from the keyboard case.
Its size is too unwieldy for casual reading, and while there are lots of great productivity apps for Windows 10, there aren't nearly as many for casual entertainment. So what the TabPro S is a great travel computer for someone who has the luxury of having a more powerful machine at their desk. Unless you're a really light user, it's not an ideal primary computer. It's got a single USB-C port, 4 GB of RAM, and it's a fairly small size. It's pretty limiting. Windows 10 just needs a bit more oomph to spread its wings.
So if you're looking for a travel computer that can pretty much go anywhere and get almost anything you need done, the Galaxy TabPro S is worth a serious look.